You're watching the Forefront Church video podcast, and wherever you're at viewing online, we just want to say thank you and welcome. And one of the ways that we can help connect with you is we want to hear from you and where you're at and how we can help. And so head over to forefrontchurch.info after the message and click the Connect tab. It's a great way for us to help you along your spiritual journey as you connect with God and learn about Jesus. And so sit back, relax. We hope that you're challenged and encouraged from today's message. You guys doing okay? Doing good? You guys online, I hope you're doing well. I'm excited for this brand new series that we're starting, but to illustrate this well, I actually asked a volunteer ahead of time to join me on stage. And so can my volunteer hop on up here? You guys give it up for JR this morning. Yeah. And so JR, you doing good, man? You doing good? You are ready for this. Okay. So, where he's like, I don't know. I don't have no clue what you have in store. I'm nervous. And so, I want to ask you a question. And so, there's no wrong answer. Well, sort of. And so, here's the deal. We're starting this brand new series called Stand Firm, where we want to be able to look at our faith and how can you and I stand firm even when difficulties occur. Because every single one of us, we're here, whether watching online or here live, we desire to be connected to God. And so I want to ask you a question. If I were to, ask you, how much of God do you want in your life? You could choose a little bit of God. You could choose, man, I want my faith to be like medium size or whatever. Or you go, man, I want my faith to be full. Kind of where would you land? You want to be full. You want to be all in. I like where your head's at. He's like, I'm up on stage. I don't want to say like mediocre. And so I want to make sure you could have chosen, you want like a little bit of faith, you want like medium faith, you are all in, bro. Like that's how so I want to give you some of these. So you got one of these, if you can hold on to that. And well, you didn't want a little bit of faith, you wanted a lot of faith. And so I'm going to give you that one there. And you're all in, like you are in it to win it. And so yeah, you're ready to go. And so you have your faith there. So for us as individuals, our hope, our prayer is that we would be able to stand strong in faith. We're like, I got my Jesus. I went to church. I'm going to a small group. And how we foster this is through our engagement in faith on a regular basis. It's great to watch online, but our prayer is that we would come together and actually be present. We don't come to church. We are the church. We happen to gather to be encouraged, to be together, to see one another. And so that's one facet of that. Another facet is to be able to, our small group time community, that looks very different depending on kind of where you land and schedules and things. But our hope here as we facilitate is that you'd be, and JR's in my small group, so I knew he'd say yes to being up here. And another piece of that is serving, that we would give back of ourselves. And so when we do that, we have a full kind of 3-tier movement in faith. But you and I both know, you doing all right over there so far? You're doing good. You're right. You and I both know that our faith doesn't just kind of sit and our day isn't perfect. You and I know that hardships will come. There'll be difficult times ahead, that life isn't what? Perfect. It's not easy. You're going to have moments of trial. Are you ready for moments of trial? He has to be. He's like, I've got this. All right, and so what I'd love for you to do is I want you to extend this arm out, like from here, just like out like this. Yeah, out like that. I want you to hold this one, okay? Oh boy. So keep holding on to that one there. Okay. And so you hold that with a full grip, but I also want you, he's like, this is about to get real. I also want you, grab it with both, there you go. And I would like for you to extend both arms out, shoulder height. Now, Sunday morning workout. Gains on gains on gains, bro. And so, you can see here, You're standing strong, and this is, now, for most of us, we would say, I can totally do this, but I really want you to get a firm extension there. Because remember, hardships are not gonna come and be like, I'm a little hardship, I'm gonna do whatever. It is gonna come, and it is gonna come at us. And in this moment, see, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come alongside you on this side. See, for most of us, we would never ask for help. We wanna do it on our own. You see, and I know JR, and I know that JR would never try to do it on his own. Like at some point he'd be like, bro, can you come help me with these? Like whatever. And see, but we want to in the moment, we hope, we pray that our faith would be strong enough. But most of the time we go, you know what? And I'm gonna let go. So you gotta extend that again. We think that we will buckle under the pressure. You guys give it up for JR. You're doing awesome. You can set him right down on the ground there. You're gonna take one, you're gonna do it. You can take one, I got an extra one. You get it. He's like, I gotta get my water on, man. That was a workout. And I'm thankful for JR to be able to illustrate this. But here's the deal. For most of us, we say, I want enough Jesus to make me feel good. And I wanna do it on my own. So I'm just gonna slip into service, slip out of service, or I'm not even gonna slide into service. I'm just gonna stay in my bed and watch from home. You guys on Facebook Live, I'm talking to you. And we just go, I'm gonna do this on my own. But here's what happens. We go, I got my Jesus on, and then hardship comes. And we start to get super unsteady. And I'm not acting by moving this. This is me not strong. And eventually, we buckle under the pressure. That's life. That is the movement of faith. That you and I cannot do this even when we are engaged in our faith, cannot do this on our own, which is why we can't venture off and just kind of play church and play that relationship with God, that it's something that's invaluable to us, that we do this together. And so in this series, over the next few weeks during the summer, we want to be able to look at what could it feel like and look like for us to stand firm. See, I believe as a community, we are better together. As a church that when we try to do this solo, you may not be crippled under the pressure immediately, but over time, you will feel like you are the Lone Ranger trying to navigate your faith. And my hope, my desire, our prayer as a church, that we can stand firm when, not if, when those moments arise where we feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. And I know so many men and women right now, and teenagers right now, who have said, man, I am struggling and I want to hold on to my faith, but it is so hard. And I get it. Let's not do it alone. We're going to look at that today over in the book of 1 Peter. If you have a Bible, you could turn over there. If you don't have a Bible, we'll let you know. We have one for you today. We do not want you to leave empty-handed. Stop by in the lobby and grab a Bible. Those of you guys who are more digitally inclined, you guys online, you can head over to forefrontchurch.info, swipe over and get to the Notes tab. Everything that we're going to look at today is right there in the notes section. We do that so you have an easy way to follow along. Sometimes you have a difficult time kind of keeping and paying attention. I understand. So follow along there. We have those tools for free, just an opportunity for you to engage your faith and grow. And there's reading plans and questions and all of that right there for you. And in this moment, we're going to be looking at what our foundation is built on, or better yet, who our foundation is built upon. In the section in 1 Peter, it's interesting, and over the next few weeks, we're going to be in the books of 1 and 2 Peter, and in this, it kind of comes out with some good news, some encouragement for us, and we all love encouragement. We love when people say nice things. We love when we're just like given that boost and that encouragement, but as it's introduced in this moment, it doesn't stop there. You see, there's not a period at the end of the encouragement, there's a comma, and when there's a comma, when you read the Bible and there's something really good that's said, you need to like kind of brace yourself. Because after the good news, there's a little bit of concerning news for you and I. And the writer does a phenomenal job of encouraging us in what's true and how awesome and amazing and beautiful following God is. But are we ready for what God has in store when things don't go as planned? We're going to be over in 1 Peter in the very first chapter, starting in verse 3. And if you don't have a Bible, don't worry, because it'll be here on the screens as well. It says, "Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. In his great mercy, he has given us new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead." This is a big way, fancy way of saying Jesus came, died, conquered death, so you and I have the opportunity to make a free will choice to live for him. Every single one of us. And that is good news. It continues on. And it's into this inheritance that can never perish, spoil, or fade. This inheritance is kept in heaven for you. Verse 5, "Who through faith are shielded by God's power until the coming of salvation that is ready to be revealed in the last time." Again, a fancy way of saying, God's got your back. God is for you. He is not this celestial curmudgeon in the sky going, "Mess up, I dare you, lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt." Like, he is not waiting for you in that way. He's not going, "If you mess up, mess up. Alternator's gone. Mess up, mess up, mess up. Car computer's gone. Hey, water heater's done. Hey, kids are acting a fool." Like, that is not how God is for you. God is not waiting for you to mess up. He is there for you in your joys and in your sorrows because he has your back and is protecting you, even in the middle of difficulties. And that is good news. But it doesn't stop there. He says, "In all this you greatly rejoice." And then we were hoping for just a period at the end of that and we'd be done. But then a comma comes and we're like, uh-oh. "In all this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while you may have had to suffer grief in all kinds of trials." Can I just tell you, maybe if you've read the Bible and you don't like certain verses, I don't like this verse. That doesn't make the verse any less true. That doesn't mean that God doesn't have my back or your back. But I don't like to hear that I have a storm, that I have a difficulty, that I will have an issue that will come my way. In the opening video with Eugene Chow, he shared with us, you will encounter various trials in different kinds, but take heart because he has overcome the world. You see, you and I are going to have hardship, and we're like, but I want to encourage you to this end and this hope. It continues on. "These have come so that you have the proven genuineness of your faith, the greater worth than gold, which perishes even though refined by fire, may result in praise, glory, and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed." Hey, you're going to go through stuff. I'm going to go through things. It will not be easy. Like he said in the opening video, he's going to get you to the other side. It won't be by a yacht. It won't be, you might have to row a little bit. You might even have to swim some of the time. "You mean he's not going to carry me?" That's that one, and I hate this poster. If you have this poster, I apologize. And it's like this whole poem, and it's feet in the sand, and the whole thing. And then when I couldn't do it, then there was only one set of footprints because Jesus carried me. And it does a thing. And I get it, and I understand the premise. And we want to lean into Jesus. But there will be times that you will have to put in the work. That's why I never tell people, let go and let God. Because while I love the let go part, and while I love the trusting in God part, God actually calls us to action. And we don't want to just be like, "Oh, I'm having this difficulty. God, take care of it," and walk away. God wants you to be engaged in your faith. God wants you and I to be an integral part of movement. He isn't calling us to be blind robots. He's calling us to be faithful followers who stand firm even in the middle of difficulty. Continues on in verse 8. It says, "Though you have not seen him, you love him. And even though you do not see him now, you believe in him and are filled with an inexpressible and glorious joy." I want to pause there before we get to the last verse. An inexpressible and glorious joy. If you're a follower of Jesus this morning, we have people, whether online or in here, some of you are like you're faithful followers of Jesus. Some of you, you're not sure what you believe. You're not even sure if God is real. And I'm thankful that all of us can be together and be a part of the church. But if you follow Jesus, you should not have people walking up to you all the time going, you just look bummed. You should have a joy in life. Now, I'm not saying you can't have difficulties. As somebody who struggles with depression and anxiety, and I'm open about it, that yes, we can have all of these battles, but does the joy of God supersede every bit of that in your life? Because in this, what it's saying is, even if you're having hardships, does God still get the honor? Do you still wake up and go, God is good? I'm thankful every day that I can use these legs to move on a stage, to walk around, to run with my kids, to skateboard, to move. Why? Because I was in a car accident where the guy said, you should have lost both your legs. And every single day I go, God, it doesn't mean I go, God, why'd you get me in this accident? Why? No, there was an accident. God, thank you that even in the middle of an accident, you protected me. And so how do we wake up and move through life, even in hardship, with joy? And it continues on. For you are receiving the end result of your faith, the salvation of your souls. See, if you don't hear anything else this morning, as we look through these moments of holding these difficult things and going, all right, God, I'm going to trust you and I have my faith in this and I'm going to come alongside other people, but you're having a hard time with going, God, I thought this was just going to be easy. I actually thought that you were going to carry this for me and that I didn't have to do any work. You see, we're not saved by our works. We're saved by the grace of God, but God calls us to beautiful works. And even in the middle of these moments, how will we respond? If you don't hear anything else, my prayer is that you hear this. Suffering may not be easy or seem fair. I teach my girls this very frequently as they say the phrase, well, that's not fair. I go, man, girls, life's not fair. And better yet, I'm so glad it's not fair. Why? Because after this comma, the rest of this isn't fair for us. But we can stand firm knowing there is a future and current hope. That's not fair because the very nature of us falling short, of us sinning, of us making mistakes, sin equates to what? The penalty for sin is death. The penalty for sinning against God is a life of separation with God. And yet God saw fit for you and I to say, I love you too much. He loves us so deeply that he then sends Jesus so that we could have life and life to the full. So that you and I, even in the moments that don't seem fair, we can stand firm, knowing, holding on to the fact that there is a future hope. Which is why we have the mission of the church that we have. And you pass by it every single time you enter in here. Why don't you read it with me? We are what? People helping people find and follow Jesus. That's what we do. If you've ever had a question about why Forefront exists, this is it. That first and foremost, we will be people that help other people. Notice that that comes first because not everybody is going to be ready for a truckload of Jesus, but they are ready for a truckload of love, of care, of support, of help. That no matter where they've come from, their socioeconomic status, what they believe or don't believe, that we will be a people that help other people. Your neighbor that you don't like, you help them. The person at the store that's yelling at their kid that you just want to step in, and remember, you step in and you love them well too because you have no idea what's going on in their life. The person that you work with that is driving you crazy, that you go, you know what? I have no idea what's happening behind the eyeballs and in their life in general. I want to make sure that I love them well and that I help them. And when you help people without an agenda, because people are not projects, that we are people, I'll be people, you know what will happen? They'll start to ask you why. Why are you so kind? Why are you so loving? Why are you someone that goes above and beyond when you don't have to? You get to go, well, there's this guy named Jesus who changed my life. There's this community, this ragtag bunch of misfits that say, man, we want to be a part of what's true and loving and kind. Man, I'd just like to introduce you. Man, you come sometime. That we'd help people to find and follow Jesus. And there's two kind of building blocks. We have quite a few core values here that reinforce this. And the first one is God first. And you chose an anchor because we believe that an anchor, and we see this being, a community that's close to the beach and naval community. We know that an anchor grounds things and keeps things where they need to be. And with God as our anchor, we seek to rely on him and show him honor in all we do. Everything is done with prayer, integrity, and excellence. And not excellence in that it has to be perfect, but excellence in that you will, no matter what we do, honor people with our very best. Whether that's inviting someone over to our home and we're going to get everything together because we just want them to have an amazing time and just to care for them. Whether it's going to Pin Homeless Ministry and serving those who are in need, or Aid Now is their event is coming up soon at the end of the summer, and lavishing families and hundreds of kids who are either displaced or completely homeless with love and hope. You see, all these different ways. We're sending a team to Mexico here soon. They're going to build a house for a family that just has no means to be able to do it, and yet we just do it. Why? Because we love people. You see, we want to put God first in all that we do. And when we put God first, everything changes. John 3:30, he must become greater and I must become what? Less. That we would say, God, it's not about me, it's about others. And so I will concede my feelings for the greater good of others. And the second kind of building block that helps us to be people who could stand firm even when things are difficult, is an ebb and flow life. And the way that we describe this is God pouring into us and each of us pouring into others. Daily living a life of prayer, study, and serving, letting it ebb and flow. It's shared in John 15:5 in the New Testament. I'm the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me. And with that, when it talks about that we abide in him, that we listen, that we care for, that we follow him, he is that is bear much fruit. For apart from me, you can do what? Nothing. See, and I see this when we were looking at JR and he was holding that stuff, and he was a beast. In our life, we are going to encounter, and we shared this, we're going to encounter hardship. And so as we do this, we're kind of going to get squeezed. Now, if we don't have God in our life, so if this is our life, our existence, and we don't have God in our life, and that's not something that we're holding fast to and standing firm in, not only is life going to feel fairly empty, yes, we will have pockets of family and friends and moments that feel like they're fulfilling, but that feeling doesn't last. And so as we begin to go through moments of difficulty and we get squeezed, what comes out? Nothing. You see, that which is internal always comes visible. See, in the moment of not only feeling empty, now we feel crushed by what has transpired because there's nothing to hold on to and have hope in. But it's different for a believer. It's different for someone who trusts in God. You see, somebody who trusts in God, the moment that hardship comes, everything begins to get wrung out. They say, man, you're going through what? You go, yeah, but and all they see is your joy, your hope, this beauty that is pouring out because of your faith in God. They go, how is it that you can stand strong through that moment, through your kids, through that work thing, through that divorce, through that health diagnosis? You go, because God has got me. And even when you squeeze a little bit more, you can still see the beauty that is God moving and working. And I saw this firsthand this past week. I was at a week of camp where they had people from different universities as well as some older high school kids there. And I met this guy named Drew. And Drew, it's a good looking dude. I'm secure in who I am. Like he this last year was the starting center for his high school football team. I mean, you see that smile. Like he looks like the guy that strolls down the hall. Doesn't even have to say anything. Everybody's like, Drew. Like he just kind of like has that kind of, there's some people that have that persona about them. And Drew was doing great this past year. He was playing football. He got into his second game in October. And at the end of the game, felt like something hurt. And he chalked it up to just football, like you get hit, you get hurt and things. So he went to the doctor. When he went to the doctor, they said, Drew, we have some bad news. We've done some scans and we found a very large tumor at the bottom of your spine. And as they started doing more tests, he was told that you'll have a 20% chance of living into the next year. It's in his senior year of high school. For some of us, getting a bad diagnosis on our car wrecks our life. He's been told in October, you might not make it to 2019. And so while we were eating turkey and going through Christmas, this is how Drew spent his time. See, Drew was in the hospital around Thanksgiving. He had a treatment that was done the day before Christmas. They shifted. It was supposed to be on Christmas Day. So on Christmas Eve, while you were celebrating with family this past year, Drew was at the hospital getting treatment. Drew got up and began to share his story while we were at this camp. It just absolutely blew me away. I was like, man, Drew, I want to go back and share with other people. I said, I believe in God's divine providence. I said, we're teaching this series and about what it means to stand firm. I said, I think people could resonate with what you're saying. He's like, tell everybody, I don't care. And so Drew and I spent the week just kind of opening up and sharing. So this is Drew on Thursday. And he was pumped, man. He did his last treatment last week and then came to an entire week of like camp and retreat with people, and a lot of people he didn't know. I'm like, why are you even here? I would be like, man, or whatever. He's like, why? I'm enjoying. And doctors would come in and they'd be like, why are you smiling? Why are you laughing in your hospital room? Like, what in the world? He goes, because I have a hope, because I'm okay. They're like, you've been given a 20% chance of living into next year. He goes, I know, but I'm living now. And this is what he shared. It was word for word, and so there's some misspellings in it because he's had a hard time even then, like speaking. So cancer may have tried to kill me, but I have a faith that hasn't failed me. I chose to smile and laugh and joke and be joyful even when most people would be sad. And I love this last part. Jesus is the only reason I can do this. Jesus is the only reason that he could do this. You got your order messed up and it ruined your day. And you flipped out on the wait staff. Someone cut you off in traffic and it made you go ballistic. Your kids did something really awful and I get it, like you're mad, but it wrecked your family and it's wrecking your family. You have some heavy situations that you're dealing with in your relationships and in your marriage, and it's difficult now. You got a health diagnosis that for most people it would derail you. But if you have faith, I want to encourage you, you're not like most people. You have the faith and hope and love and beauty of God moving through your very being. Not into your blood, deep down into your soul. And so for you and I, we move at a different pace. Or as my friend who is the lead pastor here before me would say, we move at the speed of love. See, the reality is suffering may not be easy or seem fair. But, it's beautiful, there's a comma there. We can stand firm knowing that there is a future and a current hope. And if you've never made a decision for God, just like Lily in the opening video, you have every opportunity to make that decision today. But that choice is yours. Thanks for tuning in to the Forefront Church video podcast. Our hope and prayer is that this has left you encouraged and challenged you in your faith. And you might have some questions and some ways that you want to figure this out, and we want to help with that. Head over to forefrontchurch.info, and there's a couple different ways that you can connect. Click the Connect tab and let us know how we can be praying for you, or a staff member can be contacting you this week. Maybe you have just been encouraged by this and want to support the ministry here at Forefront Church. You can click the Giving tab, as well as other tabs that are in there to help you along in your journey with God. And so we're thankful for you. Thanks for tuning in, and we cannot wait to see you again here online on the video podcast. We love you, and we'll see you then.